Hello and welcome to Conversations with Deborah Franklin. Yes, hi, we are here live on Facebook and live on fireradio.com. Guys, tonight is going to be amazing. I cannot wait to get started. Y'all, it's just been an amazing week. It's been busy. I've been swamped. I'm tired. Honey, I'm tired. When I tell you we were out and about this weekend, we've been networking, we've been connecting. All things are getting ready to happen. Y'all ain't gonna be ready because the show is getting ready to go to another level. I cannot wait. We getting ready to take things off. Baby, when I tell you things getting ready to happen, I don't even know what to tell you. But tonight's show is going to be really special. It's something that's really near and dear to my heart. It's talking about a special kind of kid. And so many times we tend to put kids in a box, whether they have a learning disability, whether they live on a different side of town, whether they just whatever that they could be. And even when these kids grow up, we tend to put the child as an adult in a different box as well. So tonight's show is going to be dedicated to a special group of kids that kids and adults, because they are so near and dear. I've dealt with as a teacher, as an educator, I've always had an interesting time dealing with these particular kids, and I promise you it has been a challenge. It has been rewarding, and it taught me a lot about being a person. Hey, Internet Perkins. Yes, honey. We are talking about, this show is dedicated to everybody that has that special kid in their lives. And we are talking about kids with autism, because tonight is dedicated to autism. Autism is it's I can't say it's a disorder, I can't say it's a disease, but it's something where a kid has a heart that has a difficulty in learning, and then they're just different. They don't process things the same way. They have to have routines, and they have to, certain things that they don't really take the concept of. How can I tell? They really can't tell people. They don't take the cues like we can. Somebody look at us funny and we think that they're funny. They're treating us funny. But we are going to talk to our special guest tonight is somebody that this is near and dear to his heart as well. But tonight, y'all, I just want to and how can I say this? So many times we try to put kids, we try to put children, we try to put people in this box. And then once we put them in this box, we try to put the lid on this box. And guys, we cannot be successful as people. We cannot be successful as a community if we continue to put people in a box. I'm even talking further than the whole line of autism. I'm talking about people in general. So many times we don't even want to give people a second chance. And even dealing with some of the things that is going on in our community, in our country, we don't want to accept them for who they are because we want to put everybody in a box. Just like y'all know, I have been on this rampage. I have been on this rant about what I was going to accept from this wonderful president of ours, saying some of the things. And then the vice president had the audacity to go to a game and walk out. Man, stop. You playing that. Stop acting like you were protesting. So now you protesting the protest. But can we deal with what the protest was really about? You have taken something and not dealing with the real issue. And that is what's irritating to so much and so many people, because that is what's irritating everybody about what's going on in this country, what's going on in our lives, is that you want to take a situation because you don't understand it. You don't agree with it. You just want to do what you want to do with it. And then it's like, what in the world? And I'm like, y'all, we have got to stop doing this. Even down to our kids, even down to the adults that are in our lives, we have got to stop putting them in this box and stop saying that they have to fit a certain way. Because like that great person, Dr. Seuss said, yeah, I'm getting ready to quote Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss is the best that ever did it. Dr. Seuss is going to do that thing. Dr. Seuss said, why fit in when you were born to stand out? And that's what we got to realize. We have got to realize that we were all created for such a time as this and created to do something different. We were created to stand out. We were created to take a stand, make a move. We were created to get on the front line and do what we have been called to do. That's why we all have gifts. That's why we all have positive potential. That's why we all can just jump in and do what we have to do. Because when you know who you are and whose you are, you cannot fit in a box. You cannot settle for the mundane. You cannot settle for just whatever. You got to jump up and do that thing, because when you know that you are called to just jump out. And then tonight's show, like I said, is dedicated to this wonderful realm of people. Like I said earlier, I'm an educator, and I remember the first time I had an autistic child in my class. Hunty, I was scared to death. I was like, how y'all gonna do this? Am I trained to do this? What am I gonna do? It had to be the most rewarding time. These kids cracked me up, because one thing about this particular group that I had, they had all grew up together. So this was high school. So they had already been with the two gentlemen that I'm talking about, since I guess middle school, elementary school. So they have had this bond with them. And so it was like they wasn't letting nothing happen. It was like, you say something about them, trust me, the biggest thug in the class was getting after that person. I know Antoinette could definitely attest to that, because she was with me. And it was like, it was so cool, because both of them were high functioning autistic. And yeah, we'll talk about the spectrum later when we have our special guest on. But having them in the class, I'll never forget. And then wait a minute. Now, this is where it's really getting ready to get funny. I was teaching tech. And if anybody that knows anything about me, you really don't want me, you don't want me building nothing. You don't want me trying to do nothing, because I'm not the best at it. But in this particular class, the end of the year project was going to be a soapbox derby. Yeah, I said a soapbox derby. And I had two high-functioning autistic kids in my class. So, I said earlier that most autistic children have to have a routine. And if anybody knows me, I am the routineless person. So, the kids built the soapbox. And I'll never forget, one of my autistic students told the kids, I'll drive. The only way I'm doing this is I'm going to drive. You got to give me a helmet, and you better build me a seatbelt. Do you know they built that car to that to that specification? And Daryl Wade said, amen, said, yes, I'm trying. Antoinette corrected me. Yes, those kids have been together since elementary school. She also said the seatbelt. Oh, the seatbelt. Y'all, if y'all had seen this seatbelt that they had built. First of all, again, I think the seatbelt was a belt they connected to the seat that they had made out of a milk crate. I'm just saying, y'all, when I tell you this soapbox derby had to be the best that ever did it. So maybe I need to talk to our special guest. Maybe we need to do a soapbox derby for the kids coming up. But y'all, I promise you, when that soapbox derby happened, it was the talk of the town. Everybody was there. The kids had a great time. And this is why I keep saying, you cannot ever put anybody in a box, because when you put them in a box, you limit them. And we have to stop limiting our children. We have to stop limiting our family members. We have to stop limiting the possibilities that even we possess. Mainly, I'm going to pause and sit right here for just a second when I say this. Mainly, we have to stop limiting ourselves. Yeah. We have got to stop putting limits on what we do for ourselves. We have to stop limiting who we engage with. We have to stop limiting how we talk to people. We have to stop putting limits on all this, because God did not create us to be here to just exist. God created us all different for a reason. Could you imagine if everybody was alike, how boring it would be? That's why we have to take hold to this thing. We have to go out and jump into the pool with both feet and just start doing what we have to do. Well, guys, I'm not going to keep you long. I'm not going to stay here long, because our guest is in the studio. I'm getting ready to bring him on. But first of all, I want to make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yes, honey, we are on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to FireRadio.com, Fire Radio on YouTube, so that way you can hear all the past shows. You'll be able to hear this show, and we'll be able to come. Y'all just ain't ready for this. I'm trying to tell you, I got some more big news that I'm going to share, but I can't share it tonight because I have not, my team and I are trying to figure out how exactly we're going to share this. And so that way, when I bring it to you, you ain't going to be ready. That's all I got to say. But for now, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that way you can keep up on what's going on. Hey, Derek Dixon, are you here with us in the studio?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yes, honey, yes. See? That's half the battle. And see, it wasn't that hard once you got it together, wasn't it? See, the beauty of my show, you can stay at home and still do what you got to do, and everybody can still watch. Are you there?
Sit in the bed and do what you got to do.
See. Right now, you getting ready to see. Now, that's what I get for talking about not fitting in and getting outside the box. Only you would come on my show in the bed. Don't be trying to act like you tired because you had an event this weekend. What?
Let me get my pillow.
I cannot! Only you, my God. Well, guys, this is Derek Dixon. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. Derek and I have actually known each other for a very long time. We knew each other in Houston. Now, this is the funny part. Now, y'all, Derek left. And I said, okay, he gone. Didn't know he was gone. But he left. And then I left. Did not know Derek was in Baltimore. I tell everybody this story. Did not know he was here. Out of all god-awful places, I think I was coming out. You were going into Security Mall. And I was like, I know you. And you was like, I know you too. I was like, oh my God. It was so amazing seeing you again. It's good seeing you now. I'm so excited about what you're doing. This weekend was phenomenal. I was so excited to see everything. And the babies were awesome. So, Mr. Dixon, tell everybody about you. Tell us what we don't know. Don't tell us what we don't know. I know I had to put the brakes on you because you'll take me somewhere that ain't ready. So, tell us something about Mr. Dixon. Tell us about what you're doing and why are you doing what you're doing?
Well, first off, thank you, Deborah, so much for inviting me. It's such an honor. I am so appreciative. And like you said, we go so back, so far back that it's just an honor for us just to reconnect and be back together.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So my name is Derek Dixon. I am a father of 3. I adopted 3 boys, so I am a proud father of 3 boys. I am an author, a producer, director, an actor, a playwright. What else do? I sing a little bit, dance a little bit. So I am in the entertainment business.
And he ain't put me in nothing, so I'm feeling some kind of way because I don't never know what's going on to later.
She ain't showed up for an audition yet. That's what the problem is. She ain't showed up.
Oh, you weren't supposed to put all that in the street.
Because I know the girl can sing and act, but she ain't showed up for near one audition, okay?
Well, see, I'm going to have to be ready for the next one, because you're going to go ahead and just come on in there and blow everybody out, because they ain't going to be ready for the girl. They ain't going to be ready.
I got a part for you. I got a part for you. So
okay, just let me know.
Right.
So tell us about this weekend. Why was this weekend so important to you, and what made it? Because I was at the first one, which blew me away, and then I was there. I don't remember if I came to the second one, but I know I was at the third one. So I'm like, I'm rocking and rolling. I was in the place. So tell us why is this so important to you?
Man, let me tell you, this weekend was so special to me. The show took a different meaning. And it was for autism awareness. And I have a son. My oldest son is autistic.
Okay.
And I wanted to make sure that I started creating support groups for families. And I really felt like that this show really provided that.
Yes.
It really provided a connection to, for families to realize that they're not alone. And
Most
that
definitely.
meant so much to me, to know that we have to learn that with autistic children, that families, it's hard. And we seclude ourselves. We don't, because you think, if I go out to the movies, what's going to happen with my child? If I go out to eat dinner, are they going to look at and stare at my child? Is my child going to act differently? Are they going to, do I have to leave the restaurant? Do I have to leave the movies? Because I've been there.
Right.
I've been there where, I took my son to the movies and had to go sit out in the lobby while the other kids enjoyed it. So, it's something that I had to create and say, families need a network where they can be able to have that support group with each other.
Most definitely. And I have to totally agree, because I have a girlfriend. Well, you met her, they have an autistic son. And it's like, it's different when you go out to eat with an autistic child, but it's like, I'm just to the point now. I got to the point that everybody got to get over it. Because if I got to sit in the restaurant, single me with no children, and listen to your child cry the whole time, and ain't nothing wrong with them except you just got to spoil, there's a difference than when a child clearly has an issue,
Right.
So it's like, come on now, let's be for real. Real. And so, and then it's like, but I've seen your son. He don't act like. Ain't nothing wrong with that boy. He just old school. No. He just need his butt whooped. That's all. Just whoop him. He good.
He good. And that's why I stop people from start saying special, they have a special disability. They don't have a special disability. They just have a unique learning style.
Exactly.
And we have to teach them the way that they learn. And if we start having that mentality and stop putting them in a box, then you would be amazed of what children of autism are capable of.
Most definitely.
I was working in the school system for a while, and I was surprised of how, some of the educators were treating these kids. And I felt sorry for them, and I had to take them on and speak up for them and say, no, they're not crazy. They're not, say something's wrong with them and things like that. No, it's not. You just have to teach them the way that they learn. Exactly.
And then I tell everybody, most autistic kids, I crack up, because back in the day, it wouldn't have been no such thing as put them in a different room. Grandma would have said, look, get yourself together and go sit over there and do what I'm telling you to do.
That's right.
And it's like, and I'm like, and back then it's like, all kids were treated like kids. And I think that's the biggest problem with most of our autistic kids or kids that have a different anything, is that we don't treat them like regular kids. And if we treated them like regular kids, we might start seeing them act like other kids and be able to interact, because your son clearly does not have a problem with interacting with other people, which is what they say is on that autism spectrum. So how do you deal with people that come up to you and say, well, you shouldn't be letting him do this, or he shouldn't be doing this because of what the doctors per se, that is the of autism, what autism is supposed to look like?
Well, it's funny that you say that, because a lot of people say, for instance, when Cortez is dropped off on the bus, and children would tell me, he should not be able to go in the house by himself. Why not? He is able to go in the house by himself. He knows how to unlock the door. He knows how to go inside the door. So I had to sign all these papers. And I said, the little Johnny that you dropped off the street, you just dropped him off on the corner. Why can't my child be dropped off in front of the house and go inside the door? I have to teach him responsibility. Our children grow to be adults. Exactly. So when are you going to be able to teach them to be adults, to have responsibility, and do what we say normal children do. So I'm like, no, don't tell me that my child can't put a key in the door and unlock it and go inside. He knows his routine. He knows that when he walks in the door, he's supposed to call me. I know that he's home. So I don't allow myself to put him in a box, because if I do that, he's going to stay there for a long time.
And well, that sounds like what you just said. Sound like something we did as kids.
Exactly. That's what we did.
Because we had a routine.
We were responsible. You know, and then he has his limits. You know,
exactly.
I know he can operate the microwave very well, but you know, things like the stove, I don't allow until I'm home and we do it together and go over it. But I know that he is capable of doing so many different things. So, you know, they always say, oh, they're in classes and they are learning life skills. Well, if you tell me my son can't get off the bus and unlock the door, how is he going to learn a life skill?
Because that's a life skill.
That's a life skill.
Last I checked. That's even just like you telling him to go downtown. I mean, come on.
Right. And the thing is that, you know, our children grow to be adults.
Exactly. So
what are you going, you know, when he's 17, he's going to be 18 years old next year.
For real? Cortez 17?
Yeah.
Jesus.
He'll be 18. And for me to, you know, hinder that process of allowing him to grow, allowing him to mature, that would be my fault if I did not allow him to go through his process. I went through mine. You know, I made a lot of mistakes as I was growing up. He's going to make a lot of mistakes. But the thing is that I'm allowing him to go through his own process.
And that's amazing. So how you dealing with the teenage and hormones and trying to date girls? Because, you know, ain't nothing slipping with no autistic child. And that's something and people got to get over, too. Ain't nothing wrong with them, honey, because the hormones still be jumping. So how you dealing with that?
You know, every day he comes. He told me a story the other day. It was so funny.
Lord.
He came home and he told me, he said, Daddy, I broke up with my girlfriend, but he said, but don't worry about it, because I got me a new one now. I said, well, when did you get you a new one? Oh, well, by the end of the day, I have a new one, but I still love the other one, but I got me a new one now. So I was just like, oh my gosh, him and these girls, he is girl crazy.
Wow.
But the thing is that he loves to look good. He loves to smell good.
I wonder where he got that from.
Again, he's 17.
Exactly.
I can't expect him not to go through what a 17-year-old goes through.
Long as you're not standing at the door with the shotgun, sir. I'm gonna need you not to do that.
As long as little Susie ain't coming over here, I'm okay.
Oh, okay.
Susie, stay at home.
Because that's real talk.
Because Susie ain't having no little Susies, because I ain't taking care of them. So
I know that's right.
All that.
But you know what? That's real talk. And a lot of parents, even of the quote unquote normal kids, are not having this conversation. But it's like parents of autistic kids need to have that conversation so they're not shocked, because you got a kid. Yeah. And their body, okay, just because their mind and their body has not caught up to each other doesn't mean that something else isn't working. So what advice would you give a parent that is going through this same situation of now their child might not be 17, but is like now starting to cross over where you start seeing the hormones and having to deal with the opposite sex and relationships for their child?
What's funny is that because, like you say, their mind and their body may be in two different places. My son still enjoys watching, you know, SpongeBob and Henry Danger and things like that. So his mindset might be one thing, but his body tells him it's different. Mm-hmm. So you have to, in their way of learning, teach them about their bodies. Mm-hmm. You have to teach them the changes that they're going through, but you have to do it in a way where they are ready to learn about it. Don't force it on them, and don't make it such a big deal where, oh my God, my daughter's body's changing, my son's body's changing. Yes, it's changing. But again, like you say, their mindset is something totally different. So don't be afraid to, explore that with them, but don't force it on them. Wait till you notice those sudden changes and gradually explain little things that are happening, little things that they may experience. Because if you, I remember this, I got a letter from school.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher, I was amazed that I even got it. And there was a letter about, they wanted to teach them about masturbation. I said, no, my son is not, no. And he said, well, we just want to teach them the appropriate place and everything like that. And I said, but this is my thing with autistic children. If they're not experiencing it, you don't introduce it to them. Because once you introduce it to them, then you have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But if you allow them to grow gradually, it may not be till he's 21 years old that he's, interested in, sex. Because again, we have to realize that it may happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
We can't say it may happen. It's going to happen. But it may be gradually down the road. But you have to know where your child is in life in order to, educate them about it and where they're at.
That's amazing, because that's like a real conversation. That's like real talk.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times we don't even think about that for other children. We're scared to have the conversation, and I'm like you said, I'm shocked that they even sent a letter home talking about masturbation, because they don't even. Well, I don't know what they teach in sex ed anymore. I'm confused because I don't teach that side.
But,
and I'm not going.
When I was going through school, there was no letter sent home about that. We didn't talk about that. But I think they think because they're autistic.
No, even on the regular ed side, I have heard it coming up. So it's like...
Yeah. I was like going, no, I'm not going to introduce that to my child until my child, comes to me. Because let me tell you something, one thing about autistic children, they're very honest.
Yes. They
come forth and they are very honest. To tell a lie, it's so funny. My son, it's so funny. He'll come to me and say, he'll take $1 off my dresser. And then he'll come to me and go, guess what I have in my pocket? And I'm like, what is it? I have $1 I took off your dresser. So he tells, they tell you everything.
Exactly.
So I never have a problem thinking he's hiding something from me. Mm-hmm. He's not going to tell me the truth of how he's feeling and things like that. So you just have to know when it's time to explore that with your child.
Exactly. Now, since you said something, I'm going to go ahead and take this a little different route, because you said something about the education system. So I'm experiencing something similar to this now. I have a parent that basically they were trying to place her child that's, for lack of a better statement, that's high functioning autistic in a classroom with kids that are nonverbal, that can't do what her child does. Her child is very independent. Her child can basically feed himself, go to the bathroom by himself, tell him when he's hungry, the whole thing. But they don't want to, let's say, take him out of that environment and put him, let's say, in regular classes. What advice would you give that parent that's having that battle with the public school system?
You have to be their advocate. You have to be their voice. I took my child, Cortez. I went to the classroom that he was in junior high.
Okay.
Everybody was nonverbal. They couldn't take care of themselves. They couldn't feed themselves. And when Cortez went to the school, they did not know actually how to teach him, because they were like, wait a minute, everybody here is nonverbal. So it's putting their finger on a button, showing them pictures. Well, now they got a child that talks a mile a minute, and they're like, okay, what? But what I saw was he was developing their behaviors. And I noticed all of a sudden the little girl that was next to him, she drooled a lot. He started drooling. Certain things words and stuff or ways that she talked or the kids would talk, he would do it. So it's learned behavior. So I said, no, I have to take him out of this classroom, out of this school, because he is high functioning. He is able to communicate. So when parents have to be an advocate for your child, you cannot allow the school system or someone to tell you, oh, this is the best for your child. You know your child. You know what's best for your child. Do not let someone else tell you what is best for your child. Speak for your child.
And what would you suggest to them, not only with the speaking, but on the legal side of it? Have you had to do anything on the legal side to, just as a word of caution or some tidbit of advice? Because again, we are building a community. In order for us to build this community, we have to talk about everything. How cray-cray it might sound, we need to put it out there because somebody is going through it. So how would you deal with that as far as the legalities of dealing with your child in this spectrum?
The first thing that a parent needs to do is you have to attend IEP meetings.
Yes.
So one thing that's very upsetting is for a parent not to attend an IEP meeting. Because if you don't attend the IEP meetings, you don't know what's going on with your child. What type of, if they have type of services, what services they have for your child, if your child needs services, if your child needs a one-on-one. If you don't attend your IEP meetings, you can't be an advocate for your child. Because then, you can't blame the school system. If you're attending your IEP meetings, you have the right to have an IEP chair there for you. You can bring along your doctor, psychiatrist, anyone that represents your child. You are there. They are there to represent that in that IEP meeting to say, these are the services that my child needs. You can have the right to have any type of services that your child needs. And I'm going to start having parent workshops.
Awesome. So
parents know and are able to find out what type of services that I can request for my child. Is it speech? Is it having a one-on-one? Do they need physical therapy? Do they need any type of therapy? You can request that. You can put that in your IEP and say, my child needs this. They need to find the person to come in and give your child those services.
Most definitely. Now, you said something key. I'm familiar with IEPs, but I'm also familiar with that parent that loves their child, wants to be there for their child, but I can't make it to an IEP meeting. What parameters have you shared with other parents on if they can't make it? Do they need to build their village? What do they need to do to be an advocate for their child? But let's just be real. We know that some people have jobs they just can't get off of. They just can't, let's say, get there doing school hours. What would you suggest to them to do?
You have to, if you have a representative that can stand in your place, you have to do it. You can't make excuses when it comes to your child. Everybody has to provide for their child, and I understand that. I get it. Mm-hmm. But you, as a parent, as a caregiver, you have to represent your child. And what is very heartbreaking is to find out that parents or caregivers, representatives, are not showing up at the IEP meetings. And when they don't show up, then the school figures they can do what they feel they have to do for that child. Mm-hmm. But then the parent turns around and gets upset. You can't get upset at the school system. You can't get upset at the teacher. You have to go there and represent your child. The IEP meeting is normally 3 or 6 months, sometimes once a year. If you can't take off at that one time to represent your child, then shame on you, because this is about your child. And when you feel like you are, oh, my child needs this, and my child's not getting this, and they say my child bad in school, and they putting my child out in school, then you need to get there and find out why.
Exactly.
You have to get there and say, wait a minute. They called me one day and said, oh, your son did this and everything. Okay, but what triggered it? Why did it happen? So therefore, I don't just say it was my child. There was something that triggered it. Mm-hmm. Now, what his behavior may have not been acceptable, but the fact is, you have to not just say, accept what someone's telling you. Find out what happened. You have to be their voice.
Mm-hmm. And that's amazing because so many parents don't even know how to be the voice of their child. They just take it at face value because I tell everybody, my girlfriend that has an autistic son, they kept telling him that he would never be nonverbal, that he would always be nonverbal, that he would never be able to do this, never be able to do that. Anytime somebody can tell me shut the fuck up, you verbal.
You verbal.
Literally.
Anytime they can put up a middle finger,
you verbal.
Anytime they can throw a book at you, you verbal.
You verbal. That means now you need to be in some speech classes because you verbal, honey. You can't tell me that, and you understand everything you said.
Right.
So and that's major. We have and as a sidebar, that's for all parents. I don't care if your child is in regular ed, special ed, not quite doing what you think that they need to do. Because you know what? A lot of kids are even held back from AP classes or higher level classes because they don't want to advocate for them to take it to another level. So that goes for all parents. You need to start being an advocate for your student. Now, we're going to shift one more time because we didn't spend as much time as I wanted to on this one.
Okay.
Tell us about this fashion show. Why a fashion show? Out of all the things, why a fashion show for autism?
You know what? I always thought that when you look good, you feel good.
Uh-huh.
But I always thought that fashion, anything like that, brings people together. Mm-hmm. Somehow it connects people. It brings them together. It just brings out the best in people. And then when it brings out the best in you at that point, you can connect better with people. Mm-hmm. And I just always feel like that when you do fashion shows and stuff. But let me tell you this first. I don't want to just do fashion shows.
Okay.
I want to, when I do things, I do productions.
Yeah. Yes.
So there's a meaning and there's a story behind it.
Right.
So when you leave, you don't leave and think, and saying, oh, that was cute. Oh yeah, she was nice. And that was nice what they had on. I want you to leave thinking, wow, there was a story that was told with the fashions.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was more than, to me, this year than just a fashion show. We was telling a story, and I wanted to tell it through fashion, but through the eyes of an autistic child. Mm-hmm. Of an autistic, a parent of an autistic child. So I wanted you to know how a parent felt. I wanted you to know what a nonverbal child, what it was like. I always thought, I don't know how I would feel not being able to hear my child say, I love you.
Wow.
Or hearing my child say, Daddy. Wow. Imagine, a parent never being able to hear that. So there's so many families that, there was a young lady, she told me she didn't have a family. She didn't have no one to turn to. So we created that for her that night. Wow. We created families. We created support groups. So, and a lot of people say, I don't know a child that has autism. Well, now you do.
Now you do.
Now you can look in the room and say, I now am aware of someone that has an autistic child. But you finally got to see it. The thing is that I wanted to try to bring awareness, because autism, people fear autism for some reason. They truly fear it.
They do.
And they think, I can't watch your child. Is he going to be okay? Did he take his medicine? There's no medicine for autism.
No.
Stop thinking, did he take his meds? There's no meds for autism. There may be meds for other type of behavioral issues, but for autism, there's no meds.
Mm-mm.
So it's that fear that people think, what's he going to do? How's he going to act? Is he okay?
Wow.
I wanted to take that fear out of people and say, he just thinks a little differently than you and me. But, hey, he's just like you and me.
Exactly. Now, one other thing that I saw at the fashion show that totally messed me up, I was ready to lay out, was the young lady that you had in the wheelchair. Please tell us about the wheelchair models. Please share that with us.
Miss Sunshine. And she went, now I truly don't know her full story, so
Okay.
I can't tell her story, but she is a victim of domestic abuse.
Wow.
I don't know if that put her in the wheelchair or what, that situation. But when I met her and she wanted to bring awareness to autism, that just touched my heart to know that someone that's what she's been through wanted to give back to something else.
Wow.
And to a different cause. Man, that broke me down right there. That brought me to tears when you are in your own type of situation, but you want to still give back to others. That taught me a lot right there. So I said, she had to be a part of my show because the theme was, don't call me different. I just do it differently.
Exactly.
And to me, she just did her thing differently.
Baby, she rolled down there in a pose, honey.
She rolled down that runway like like she was just walking down it and strolling. So I give it up to Miss Sunshine for who she is and what she's doing.
Because Miss Sunshine brought some sunshine, honey. Because I was like,
Yes, she
okay,
did.
come on here. You better rock this thing like
Yes,
no
she did.
other.
She rolled out there. She let go of those wheels. She stopped it, turned around, flipped her hair. I said, well, hey, go ahead.
Come on, flip, honey. Because I was like, I need
Yes.
to take some lessons from you, child. Because she was beating that thing, and her face was beat too. So she was doing the darn thing. So that was amazing.
Yes. And then at the beginning of the show, all of our children that were on the autism spectrum, they opened up the show.
Right.
So we had them open up the show. Rayman, I wrote a book called Don't Call Me Different, I Just Do It Differently.
Right.
So he wrote a song, an original song, based on the children's book that I wrote about autism.
Uh-huh.
And he did a spectacular job with that song.
It was awesome. He did a wonderful job opening because I was like, the beat was hot. I was like,
Yes.
come on here. You got a
Yes.
nice beat. He was giving it all he got. And it's like, and again, it's so amazing to see the different type of people that you would not normally expect to be at such an event supporting such a cause. Because if you would look at it, you would like, no, come. But dude was like in there like, I'm going.
Right.
I was like, yes.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. He did an awesome job. It's like everybody, even the models were, and of course, being an educator, I pay attention to certain things because when you got my kids, I don't even care who kids they are, they still my kids. The friend of mine that was with me is an educator too. She said, wait a minute, because I was getting ready. There was another little kid running in the back, and I was getting ready to go get him. She said, you ain't at school, girl. You ain't at school. Stop. Sit down. I was like, I know. I just go into teacher mode.
Braylon ran out on the runway one time and was doing his thing, and I was like, oh, y'all, that was Braylon. But
you know what? That's what Braylon had wanted to do.
Let them be who they are.
Exactly. But see, Braylon had been trying to get on that runway for a long time, and everybody kept stopping him. I said, but now Braylon done got on that runway, he done. So once he ran out, I ain't see Braylon no more. Because he knew what he wanted to do, and he was going to get it done. He wasn't worried about nobody else. He was just waiting for his time to do him. And that was so
Because he was
funny.
like, I'm tired of y'all He's like, I'm tired of everybody else running out here on this runway. I'm about to come out here and do my thing.
And show you what to do when it's time to do it. And that's that.
He ran out there, he did it, and he ran back. I'm done.
Undone.
End scene.
Exactly. Like, cut!
See.
It was amazing. Now tell us about this children's book. Because, again, we're opening this up. So if it's a parent, tell us about that book. And then how can they get that book?
Let me tell you the reason I wrote the book. I wrote the book because I took Cortez. We were at the swimming pool.
Okay.
And autistic children can entertain themselves. And he was in the pool. He playing, laughing, doing all kind of good things. Just having a good time. The little boy came up to me and he said, "Is he special?" And I didn't get offended.
Good.
I didn't get hurt. I said, "He is special. He is special to me." Mm-hmm. And I said, "I bet if you go home and ask your mother, I bet she would tell you that you were special to her as well." I said, "Because you are special, and you're special to somebody just as much as he is special to me." And at that time, I knew I needed to educate children as well as parents of who and what autism was. And like I said, at that point, I stopped being offended.
Right.
And said, stop being offended and educate the people.
Exactly.
And it took that little boy and he was very blunt. "Is he special?" I said, "He sure is. He is special to me." Mm-hmm. And I said, "And you are special to somebody just as much as he is special to me." And that's when it flipped for me to say, okay, it's the opportunity to educate people of what it is. So that's why I wrote the book, Don't Call Me Different. I just do it differently. And you can find it on Amazon. You can go on Amazon or BarnesandNobles.com and find the book. It talks about autism. My son has a seizure disorder. It talks about seizure disorders. And it just talks about family in general of what it is to bring up an autistic child.
And that's amazing. So what? And then just to stem off the book, what are some of the tips that you give in the book?
Basically, I talk about just some tips that I talk about is I really want to focus like don't bully, don't treat differently, don't allow them to be who they are. Like I said before, teach the way they learn. And then I express a little bit about how, there are entertainers that you wouldn't even know. Daryl Hannah is autistic.
Yep.
Mozart was autistic.
Yes.
Another gentleman, he was in Ghostbusters, autistic. So, and you look at their lives and you would never know it.
Exactly.
You would never know it. But look how they have made it in life. And a lot of times I would tell children, don't laugh at him, because one day you're going to walk in a boardroom and he's going to be sitting at the head of the table and he's going to have to hire you. I said, so don't laugh at him. Don't make fun of him because the fact that you think he said something funny or he did something a little differently. Because one day you're going to walk in and that's going to be the man that has to hire you.
Exactly. So when you said that, so what do you think about all these new shows and movies like The Accountant that came out and the main character is autistic, and then the new show about the doctor? So what do you think about entertainment now that's grabbing hold to this whole idea of autistic adults doing more? How do you feel about that? To this new exposure.
I truly love it. I really do. Because it's not, again, feared. They can actually see what autism is. It's not, like you said before, it's not a disease.
Right.
Autism, it's an altering of the mind where they process differently how we process it. My son can watch a movie.
Oh, God.
Put the movie back on again, he will recite Every single thing
Wow.
that was in that movie, word for word, line for line.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Because I tell all
Now,
my
Deborah, why
parents.
didn't you tell me I had a piece of fuzz on my chin?
Well, I didn't see it until you just moved it. I said, what is he doing? Then I said, oh, okay, got
You
it.
got me all on here, fuzz, all on my chin.
No, because if I had seen it, I would have told you, honey. Because you know I ain't gonna let you go out looking bad. Because I can't have everybody fuzzy.
See?
Oh my God. And you know, the movie The Accountant, I tell all my friends that have autistic kids, go see that movie. Because
Yes.
what they did, I don't know if you've seen it, but the crazy part about it, they took a child on both ends of the spectrum and showed
Right.
how they work together. And I was like, that is amazing. And how we're using technology to bridge the gap between, let's just say, the disorder. So if we're talking technology, what do you suggest for parents to get to help their kids, especially with all the technology that's out there? What is something that you use that you would suggest to somebody else?
You know what? One thing with technology nowadays, you let your child explore. You know, this is one thing that I do. I take my child to everything.
Okay.
If it's football, baseball, to ice capades, basketball games, you have to introduce them to the world. Because if you don't introduce them to the world, then they become so sheltered. Introduce them to the world. Let them enjoy the world. Let them enjoy, their laptops, their iPads, and things. You will be so amazed of what they can do on laptops and computers. You'll be amazed of how they can communicate with you better through laptops. It's not a bad thing. Allow them to explore that, so that way you can see what their capabilities are.
Right. That's
but
amazing.
You gotta take them out. Stop being afraid. Oh, I can't take him there because he may have an episode and we're gonna have to leave. But you know what? If you take them gradually, do things and say, okay, we're gonna go for 30 minutes and then we're gonna leave. Then we come back. That's how I was able to do things. I had to gradually introduce different things to my child.
Exactly.
But technology nowadays, let them do it.
Exactly.
I would never tell a parent, don't. Let them do it, because it teaches. It is a teaching tool, and it's able. Technology nowadays is able to teach them to read. Being able to maneuver through a computer, you would just be surprised of what they can do.
Exactly. And then you said something like taking them to football game. Yo, play the autism card. And get you a box seat. Tell them, look, my child got autism. I need you to help me help him. And sometimes don't be afraid or ashamed to just say it. Because sometimes
just say it.
You just never know what's out there until you ask. And that's what I think that's one of the biggest things, is that we get so, again, putting ourselves in a box that I can't do, I can't go, I can't say, this, they can't do. But why can't they?
Why can't they? And, traveling.
Yes.
Traveling can, like you just said, if you go and say, my child is autistic, can I board early so I can introduce my child to what we're about to experience? So you have to speak and be an advocate. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be afraid. If they scream out, if they yell, if they make noise, if they're stimulating, you just let you know that this is who my child is. Don't be afraid of it. And if other people are staring or things like, excuse me, my child is autistic, and don't be afraid to explain it to them, or be afraid of who your child is. Once you're not afraid, believe me,
the sky is the limit.
Secondary. That autism is just a name.
Exactly.
Then you start looking at your child for who your child, what and who your child is. All that other stuff, what people think, you throw it out the door.
Most definitely. Now we're going to switch, and it's going to be our last switch, but I got to do this one. You were a flight attendant for Southwest for a very long time.
Yes.
And you was talking about travel, but how about that book you wrote about your passengers? Please share with us about Shut Up and Sit Your Down.
I wrote a book because I wrote this book about what flight attendants want to say to passengers. But actually, it's what I do say, what I did say to passengers. So the title of the book is Sit Your Dumb A Down, because that's something that you want to say to them when they come up and ask you, where's the bathroom? You know the bathroom's back here. The bathroom ain't changed on this airplane for 20-something years. Now all of a sudden you looking for the bathroom.
Right.
Sit down. Would you like something to drink? Do you have Kool-Aid? Go sit your dumb self down. You know we ain't got no Kool-Aid. And you know that we going to be serving peanuts. That's all y'all have is peanuts. Sit down. When's the last time you had a meal on the plane? 1975. Sit down. So I had to write the book just to let them know, sit down somewhere and be quiet and just get from point A to point B. That's all you're supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
This is not a live show. It's not entertainment. You just get from point A to point B. Sit
And
down.
bottom line, it was Southwest, so you know to just sit down.
So I wrote that book, and you can find that one also on Barnes & Nobles. Go to BarnesandNoblesDown.com. Put in Derek D. Dixon, Sit Your Dumb A Down.
I promise you, when I saw that title, I hollered. I said, I can't do it. I said, only Derek would do something like this. And I couldn't do that. I screamed. I ain't gonna even lie to you. I screamed. And I tell everybody, if you cannot laugh and if you cannot have fun, your life is just a waste. Because
you have to have fun in life.
Most definitely.
You have to have fun in life. Like you say, it's a waste if you don't. So enjoy it, embrace it. And there's so much stuff going on in the world right now. But let me tell you something. You can't let it consume you. You can't fix the world.
Nope. You
just have to live in the moment. Pray, stay prayed up, and just keep on moving.
And honey, you said now that right there, all we gotta do is hit end broadcast, because if you don't stay prayed up, your battle is lost anyway. So that is major. That is so major. Well, Derek, guess what? This show is over. We are coming to the end. It's hard to believe that we have been on so long. What would you like to leave out and share with our parents that may be tuning in and maybe listening to the rebroadcast? What are some closing things that you would like to share with them about what you're going through and what's coming up next? Because you made a big announcement.
Yes. I just want to, again, I want to tell parents, get yourself a support group. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you now, it's the hardest part is trying to do it on your own. You have to have a village. Get yourself a support group. And, if you're not in Baltimore, find somewhere or somebody that you can support you and your child and your family. If you're in Baltimore, look me up, www.DerekDDixon.org, DerrickDDixon.org, and find out information about the 3D Foundation. And we know that autism is not just here in Maryland. So next year we are taking Stomp the Runway for Autism Awareness to Atlanta. So we are going to go to Atlanta next year, and we're going to do it up big there. I'm also doing a play next year called Same Script, Different Cast, and it's based on generational curses about how when you was a child and then as you grow up, you do what your parents did. Yes. So it's the same script, just a different cast. So that's going to be come up. So you can look me up in Facebook, Derek Darrell Dixon, and I'm telling you, everything that I do, I put it on Facebook. I am the Facebook king. And you will not miss anything that I'm doing if you find me on Facebook.
Awesome. And I'm going to tell you right now, we probably going to have to come with you so we can go live with you. Conversations will probably be in Atlanta right there with our cameras, because that's something a lot of people don't know. We are going to be doing live broadcasts starting in, I think, 2 weeks. We're going to be coming live. So it's going to be amazing. Okay. Yes, we're getting ready to take this to another level. Well, guys, it's been fun. It's been real. Couple words from our sponsors. Make sure, the fun fact of the day, is the most used killer of a conversation. Y'all have got to stop saying, okay? Please stop saying, Please, and please. Then make sure that you are getting my blog. I am blogging, y'all. Go to Conversations with Deborah Franklin. Look at the old blogs, get the new blogs, and the other thing that we're doing right now is that we're getting ready for. Make sure that you're logging on to jointheT.com so you can keep up with all the things that are happening. Y'all, it's been fun. It's been real. We gotta go, Derek. It's been beautiful having you on tonight, and most of all, God bless. Love you to life. Have a